Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, let us derive mean effective pressure for a diesel cycle. Now, the moment I saw that it is a diesel cycle, I have drawn a PV diagram for a diesel cycle, which is constant pressure heat addition, and also I have written a TS diagram for diesel cycle. Now, we from the already we know that from the definition of mean effective pressure, let us denote mean effective pressure as P suffix m. So, mean effective pressure is given by W net divided by swept volume, all right, swept volume. And swept volume here in our diagram is V1 minus V2. So, swept volume is V1 minus V2. So, we know this definition. I will call this as equation 1. So, we will come back to the equation 1 little later. Now, I will take only numerator and try to get an expression. So, I will take only numerator W net and try to solve for W net, okay, and then we will come back to equation 1 later. Now, if you look at the PV diagram, we have a number of works like 1 to 2 we have work, 2 to 3 we have work, 3 to 4 and 4 to 1. So, I will conveniently name them, like I will start from here just for the convenience. This is, let us say, 1, this is 2 and this is 3 and this is 4, all right. Now, work net should be W1 plus W2 plus W3 plus W4. And we know that W3 is constant volume process. So, therefore, this term, that is 4 to 1, will become 0. So, for volume constant, work transfer is equal to 0. Work transfer is equal to 0. So, therefore, we end up with only 3 terms, that is work 1. So, what is work 1? So, work 1 is constant pressure process. So, we will have P3 into V3 minus V2. Now, this expression which we already know for a constant pressure process, P into V final minus V initial, plus for 3 to 4 work transfer will be what? P3 V3 minus P4 V4 by gamma minus 1. Okay. So, now if I use this negative sign here, because work 4 will be a negative because it is a compression process. So, I can use negative term here. So, if I use this negative term here, I will have to make sure that I am substituting the inside term in a positive, because already I am using negative term inside. So, it will be P2 V2 minus P1 V1 by gamma minus 1, and please remember this negative term already we have used. So, we want to make sure that this term will be positive. So, that is why we are not using P1 V1 minus P2 V2 by gamma minus 1. So, this term will give us the work transfer, I mean whether it is going to be positive or negative. Actually, this will be negative here because it is compression, but already I have used negative sign here. So, I do not want to again keep this in negative. So, in order to make this positive, I will have to use reverse this P2 V2 minus P1 V1 by gamma minus 1. So, that is what we have done for the expression. So, now what we shall do, from the diagram we know that P3 is equal to P2, all right. From diagram P3 is equal to P2. So, I will keep this side for writing anything which is related. So, P3 is equal to P2, all right, that is what we know. So, I can write in the first term P3 is equal to P2. So, I will write P2 here, okay. So, I will write the first term P3 is equal to P2, I will write P2. I will take V2 common here in the first term. So, this will be V3 by V2 minus 1. Now, remember what is V3 by V2? So, V3 by V2 is equal to cutoff ratio rho, all right. So, this will be rho in the next term. Next we will do, let us take P3 common out here also, okay. So, P3 I will take a common from here. So, I will have V3 here minus P4 by P3 and we will have V4. divided by gamma minus 1 is there only. Minus, again I will take P2 V2 common here. So, I will have 1 minus P1 V1 divided by P2 V2 divided by gamma minus 1 is there only. Now, what I will try to do with this expression is I will try to represent all these terms either in terms of compression ratio or cutoff ratio. All right. So, let us go one step ahead, like we will have P2 V2, V3 by V2 is rho. So, first term is rho minus 1. All right. Now, let us go to the second term, and we know that P3 is equal to P2. I will rewrite this as P2. Okay. Now, V3 can be written as what? Now, V3, so this implies, so wherever we require, we will write it accordingly. So, V3 can be written as V2 rho. So, this term I can write it as V2 rho, and this gamma minus 1 is there only. All right. Now, what is P4 by P3? I will go back here. P4 by P3 can be found out by using this PV power gamma is equal to constant. So, I will use for process 3 to 4, we know that P3 V3 power gamma is equal to P4 V4 power gamma. Okay. So, process 3 to 4 P3 V3 power gamma is equal to P4 V4 power gamma. So, what do we need is P4 by P3. I will go for this P4 by P3 here. So, I will have V3 by V4 whole power gamma. And remember, this V3 by V4 can be solved. Either we will have to write it in terms of cutoff ratio or compression ratio. And we know that compression ratio is V1 by V2 is equal to R, right? So, V1 by V2 is equal to R, that is compression ratio. So, this also we know, compression ratio. Okay. Now, V3 by V4 cannot be solved. So, I will just go for multiply and divide by V2. That is the second left LHS, left side. So, I can write this V3 multiply and divide by V2. So, V3 by V4 is there only. I will go for V2 by V2. All right. So, now this is what is P4 by P3. Now, what do we have? V3 by V2, V3 by V2 is cutoff ratio rho. All right. Now, V3 by V2 is equal to rho. And what is this V2 by V4? Remember, V1 by V2 is R. V1 by V2 is R. And what is V1 is equal to V4 here, because constant volume, and V1 is equal to V4. So, I can write that V4 by V2 is equal to R. R we can say V2 by V4 is equal to 1 by R. V2 by, therefore, V2 by V4 is equal to 1 by R. So, straight away whenever we encounter V3 by V4, we can write rho by R. So, rho by R for gamma is P4 by P3, or we can say rho power gamma R power minus gamma. This is also correct. So, I have just taken it to the numerator. So, P4 by P3 can be written as rho power gamma and R power minus gamma. So, this is just to get the equation in the required form. All right. So, I will come back here. In place of P4 by P3, I will write rho power gamma R power minus gamma. All right. Now, what is V4? Now, V4 is again V1. So, V4 in terms of R we can write. So, again here we have V1 again we can write V1 by V2 is equal to R, but we are saying that V1 is equal to V4. So, V4 by V2 is equal to R. You can say that V4 is equal to V2 times R. So, what are we trying to do? We are trying to represent everything in terms of P2 V2 so that we can take this common out. See, in the first term we have P2 V2, in the last term also we have P2 V2. If you write V2 in terms of V2 here, we can take this common. So V4 is V2R. V4 we have proved now, V4 can be written as V2 times R. So now I think we have in our form. So 1 minus, now again what is P1 by P2? So again P1 by P2. Now P1 by P2 is what? So process 1 to 2, P1 V1 power gamma is equal to P2 V2 power gamma. Now we want P1 by P2. So P1 by P2 is equal to V2 by V1 whole power gamma. V2 by V1 is 1 by R power gamma, or we can say R power minus gamma, that is also correct. So I will go for this P1 by P2 is R power minus gamma, and this V1 by V2 is R. So we will have gamma minus 1 here. Now let us simplify this. W net is equal to P2 V2 rho minus 1. If I have to take whole divided by gamma minus 1, the first term has to be multiplied with gamma minus 1 plus, I will say P2 V2 I will take common here. So I will be remaining with rho minus rho power gamma into R power. So R power 1 minus gamma. So that will be, if you add the powers, R power 1 minus gamma minus P2 V2 into 1 minus, if you add the power here also, R power 1 plus R power minus gamma. So if you add the power, it will be R power 1 minus gamma. So now I can take W net is equal to, I can take P2 V2 common for the complete terms. We will have this gamma minus 1 in the denominator. What we will do, we will multiply this first two terms within this bracket here. So rho power gamma and rho into minus 1 will be minus rho, minus 1 into gamma is minus gamma, and plus 1. So this is the multiplication of this first term, and then we will have plus rho minus rho power gamma R power 1 minus gamma, and this, if I go for multiplication of minus 1 plus R power 1 minus gamma. So this will be our factors. Now let us cancel out what are there. Minus gamma and plus gamma cancels out. Minus gamma and minus, I think that's it, plus 1 and minus 1 cancels out. Alright. Now we are remaining with W net is equal to P2 V2 into, I think we have rho power gamma and this term. Let us take this common out here. We have gamma common, which can be taken in first two terms. Then we will have rho minus 1 in the first term. Okay, these two. Then if you take minus R power 1 minus gamma in the these two terms, then what we will have is rho power gamma minus I think we will have 1 here, right. So if you multiply, it should give us the same answer. Let us check. So minus rho power gamma R power 1 minus gamma, and this will be plus R power 1 minus gamma. So that is okay. Now this is what is the expression of work net from these expressions. All right. So now what we shall do, we shall come back to equation 1 where we had started. Equation 1 was work net divided by swept volume. So expression 1 was what? Expression 1 is W net divided by V1 minus V2. So whatever we have got now is for the expression for W net. So we will go to mean effective pressure now. So therefore, now substitute this in expression 1. Substitute in equation 1. So, mean effective pressure is equal to P2 V2 W net expression gamma into rho minus 1 minus R into R power 1 minus gamma into rho power gamma minus 1. So, is our numerator divided by gamma minus 1 divided by gamma minus 1. This is our W net, and what is there, that is swept volume V1 minus V2. Now, the idea is we will try to take V2 common here so that we can cancel out numerator V2 and denominator V2. So, that is what I will do, P2 V2 into gamma into rho minus 1 minus R power 1 minus gamma into rho power gamma minus 1, and I have taken gamma minus 1 is here, I have taken V2 common here. So, that will be V1 by V2 minus 1. Okay. Now, this V2 and V2 cancels out, V2 and V2 cancels out. I can rewrite this as P2 gamma into rho minus 1 minus R power 1 minus gamma into rho power gamma minus 1 divided by, this will be what, gamma minus 1, and V1 by V2 is R minus 1, alright. V1 by V2 is R minus 1. Now, we can further simplify this by this expression. We know that P1 V1 power gamma, we know that P1 V1 power gamma is equal to P2 V2 power gamma. So, therefore, here P2 can be written as P1 V1 by V2 whole power gamma. That will be P1 V1 by V2 is R. So, P1 R power gamma. So, therefore, mean effective pressure can be P2 is P1 R power gamma into gamma into rho minus 1 minus R power 1 minus gamma into rho power gamma minus 1 divided by gamma minus 1 into R minus 1. So, this is the expression for mean effective pressure of a diesel cycle. Thank you.